This is the SoundLab at Home, Australia's top rock program with all the best guests from coast to coast and around the world. Here's your host, music industry veteran, director of the SoundLab Music School, and author of Why Learn Music, Melbourne's Princess of Rock, Leah Gallin.
In this episode of the SoundLab at Home, I catch up and share some laughs with my legendary mates Brent DeBoer of the Warhols and Bob Harrow, who formed the Australian psychedelic rock band Immigrant Union. Hello, how are we?
Yeah, good.
Awesome. My long lost buddies. I haven't seen you guys in a while.
Been a long time.
It has indeed. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
I'd like to welcome you to the SoundLab at Home.
Hey, thanks for having us.
So I guess I want to start off, how do we know each other, guys?
Tamworth Rager?
Yeah, it would be that. I'd say 2008, I believe, Tamworth Country Music Festival is where we met. I looked through my archives and found this lovely picture of me and Uncle Hayden. I don't know if you remember him. It was shot by Jake, obviously, after the bender that was Tamworth Country Music Festival. You had to pose with a hat for his Hat's Life book.
Well, yeah, Tamworth, throughout the day, all roads lead to Jake's photography.
That's it, the House of Gibson. And I believe we must have done it for at least half a decade. Lots of fun.
God, absolutely. I miss Tamworth. We've had so many incredible experiences there, but I'd like to get back and do it again.
Absolutely.
Let's smash it. It was so good.
Yeah.
Just to explain it to our viewers, so Tamworth Gibson, who I worked for, had a fantastic venue. It was called Shot by Jake's, and he was a wedding photographer whilst not in the 2 weeks that he hosted Gibson's VIP sort of event space that we had. And we had a tiki bar and was sponsored by some alcohol companies, and lots of bands, VIPs used to come, and you guys, I think, would have played a couple of times there over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the most interesting and beautiful rooms of like, you could just wander around in there looking at his collection of bits and pieces.
Oh, yeah, Jake's. Incredible. Yeah. Incredible. I mean, what a character, man. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an amazing collector of oddities.
He's actually taken me to a couple of the rodeos. You know, he's told us not to talk, dressed us up as like American superstars with all these like fancy clothes. And yeah, it was rough as guts, but it was awesome. Just had so much fun. When is it again? It's January, it is, isn't it? It's the hottest time in Tamworth. And
yeah, it's the worst possible time you can go there. The worst.
Yeah, it's just absolutely brutal. It's like you're in an oven.
And up even past like 180 degrees. Let's go past that and see what
I think I've had some of the worst hangovers of my life after a night at Jake's and having to sleep in that venue. It was just unbelievable. Yeah. Like, no aircon.
I don't think I've actually had a traditional hangover in Tamworth because we would usually have a gig in some shoe store at like 9 a.m. 9
in the morning for 3 hours. And then
yeah, so you'd show up there completely spangled still, and do that gig, and then eat some lunch, and then right at the time where normally somebody would start to experience a hangover, you're already 3 beers deep.
That's it. Hair of the dog. Just get back on it and do it all again. Yeehaw. We'd be there for 2 weeks in total, so it was epic. I think you guys used to have a pad there and all used to come along. I remember Kristyrosser she was Ryan then, and she was with Peer Group Media, I believe, and the Jayco guys were sponsoring stuff with her. I think that's how I met you guys, through Christy.
Yeah. We've done a lot of different things. We camped one time for a week.
Like closer to 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a campsite.
That was intense.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah, we right, and then one other time we actually took a Jayco up there and just knocked on the door of this cafe that we used to go to all the time and just said, hey, can we park our our trailer in your back parking lot? They said, yeah. And then they ran an extension cord from inside their cafe to our trailer so we could run our air conditioning. Honestly, we would have died without it. We did them a lot.
And that's not even a joke. We probably would have died.
We would have died. It was like the hottest Tamworth ever. Yeah, and the cool thing about Tamworth is you play 4 or 5 concerts a day. And I just can't even put into words how much fun it is and how many people you meet.
I mean, looking back now, I've never really thought of it, but how good you get. You're playing 2 or 3 3-hour sets.
Yeah.
That's like Beatles and Hamburg shit, man.
It is. Yeah, the first one's at 9 a.m. The last gig is at 9 p.m.
Yep.
And you just go all day.
Was Immigrant Union about when you guys first kicked off at Tamworth?
Yeah, that was always Immigrant Union.
Always Immigrant Union, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's happening with you guys at the moment?
We just got to see today for the first time. We just made a new music video. We just got to see the final product for that today.
It's so cool. I just love it. I've watched it 11 times today. I love it.
What about the album?
The proper vinyl, and it's gatefold with this epic photo of us when we toured the States. And I think one of the coolest rock photos. I think the top 6 or 7 would all be Black Sabbath from the early 70s. And then I'd say the 8th or 9th best rock photo is probably in the gatefold of this record.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be part of that photo.
I'm glad to be in that one too. If you want the full boat, and if you get the vinyl, you have it digital anyways. That's at Cheer Squad.
So do you want to tell me a bit about your history, both of you guys? I sort of want to know, obviously, Brent, you're in the Dandy Warhols. 1998 you joined?
March of 98. I don't know. God, it's been 25 years I've been doing that. It's been an amazing ride. And without that, I never would have met Bob. My kids wouldn't exist. I wouldn't know my wife. If you could quantify the wealth of experience that I've attained through playing concerts in a third of the countries on this planet, if you could quantify that versus dollars, I swear to God, I would be I'd rank right up there with Elon Musk. I would actually be on the wealth index because I've had so many amazing experiences and I feel so blessed.
Hi, I'm Leah Gallin, the Managing Director of the SoundLab Music School here in Prahran. This is our wonderful venue. We've been here for over 10 years. Now we've got the 2 options. We've got our fantastic teachers live back at the venue, or we've been running our lessons online via Zoom. So whether you're after online or live lessons, contact us today. So what about your influences? What got you into music in the first place?
Well, I just like any musician, I think you just didn't have a choice. You just couldn't stop singing. You couldn't stop tapping on things and bobbing your head, and music would come on, and people would have to nudge you in order to get your attention because you're just suddenly lost in this Elton John song that came on the AM radio. You can't help it. I personally had no choice. My parents took me to the doctor because of it. I mean, I was rocking back and forth on my hands and knees, knocking my forehead into the headboard of my bed, listening to the headboard go, doing that along to some music. And my parents took me to the doctor. But back then, fortunately, the doctor said, I was talking to him, he's way into music. He just said he's just keeping a beat with his forehead. And I checked his forehead. It's perfectly fine. Get him a drum set. And I have no idea how they put up with it, but I smashed that thing in their living room for years. My kids start smashing on my drums, and I immediately just like, ugh. You know, of course I let them do it. I have to be quite hypocritical if I didn't.
What about bands? Like growing up, what sort of music did your parents play, or did you listen to that sort of inspired you?
Had parents that had a fairly decent record collection. It's all the same stuff. Your Beatles, your Stones, Pink Floyd or Dylan. Parents had all those kind of records. The Hollies, Byrds, Graham Parsons, Paul Simon, Simon & Garfunkel. So I mean, this is the stuff that let me know that melody and chords and all this fantastical journey that you take when you hear those lyrics. Musically, though, my main influences have been the people in my life. What do you think, Bob?
I completely agree. Yeah.
I was about to ask that. What about you, Bob? What are your influences?
I'm obsessed with Bob Dylan, and I loved Michael Jackson when I was a kid, and that film Eddie and the Cruisers, I used to really like that. Yeah, and like Nirvana and the Beatles, but yeah, it really comes down to what Brent just said. Like your mates, like you want your friends to be into what you're doing.
So you feed off each other, basically.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Was it Courtney Barnett?
It was in Union.
She was in the band for a couple of years, and with Dave Moody and Bones. And then I played drums on her first solo EP, and it's just an incredible collection of songs. And it exploded, and she got so busy doing her solo stuff that she had to go do her own thing. And the fortunate side of it is that we joined up with Ben Streety and Patty McGrath, and those guys. They brought this whole other level of head-tripping psychedelia to our group. And this last record, Judas, that those guys were on, I could not be more happy with it. I just think it's
a beautiful album. We feel like for me personally, I guess I can't speak for Brent, but it really feels like a cohesive unit, like never before now. Like we're a band. Like it's an incredible thing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's really great.
So does that happen a lot? Like, so with Courtney Barnett was in the group, and it finally locks in with the right people, or?
Like with the Dandies, it was just very, besides, before Barnett and Bonesy and Dave were in the group, we also had dozens of members, an entirely different experience. But now, like Bob was saying, I think for the first time, we have that sort of Dandy Warhols, like lifer, connected group, finally. It took a long time with Immigrant Union.
So, and also you guys, I saw toured with NoelGallaher and Blackrebelmotorcycleclub.
Yeah, we did that. What did we do? We got the Lemonheads we were just out with, Bob, is that right?
Yeah, we did the Lemonheads.
Who else? Let's see, NoelGallaher, Black Rebel, those are kind of the biggest ones that we've opened for, right?
Yeah, we did that whole tour with Wolfmother as well.
Oh yeah, that was epic. Yeah, that was awesome.
So you're called, what is it, folk rock psychedelia, and I don't really understand what that is. Could you explain, please?
I don't even know who said that, but every song ever put to tape, if it's worth listening to, is psychedelic, no matter what. Because if it doesn't affect your mind, then you might as well be listening to a jackhammer or something. As soon as you're incorporating rhythm with sound, if it's any good, it's going to be psychedelic. So you can just kind of put that word to anything. And then let's see, folk. I'd say that's more. Well, I think Bob and I both sort of. I mean, what is folk? We both tell these sort of stories. There's a lot of songs that tell these sort of little, like, kind of life journeys. What is the definition of folk rock? Anyways, Bob, you probably know more about that. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean there's an acoustic guitar and there's the bass drums not mixed very loud? What does it mean when it's called folk rock? Why is Black Sabbath Volume 4 not folk rock?
To me, that would make it more just folk. Just pretty much eliminating any other instruments is folk. Like if you got an acoustic guitar, like Dylan's first albums, and like Pete Seeger, Woody Guthrie.
For instance, the song Ahmed that we just finished the video for, and I'm sure that'll come out in a couple weeks. When Bob first played Ahmed for me, he played it on an acoustic guitar. Like, it just sounded very, very early Dylan. But I know that Bob is way into Michael Jackson. So there's this moment where you're like, wait a second, can this song, this very Dylan-esque, Woody Guthrie sounding song, this could actually kind of go Michael Jackson? And then we just suddenly, it's like Ben's just boom, 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 boom. You get the fat straight beat going with that funky bass line. Suddenly we're right out that door and right into Studio 54 or something with it.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
My dad played with Marcbolan from T-Rex for a bit. He was telling the story about that and how, he was folk originally. He used to sit, with his guitar cross-legged on the Persian rug with a sitar or whatever. And it was that folk hippie. And as soon as he brought the electric guitar into the mix, he lost a lot of his, folk music fan base. So I don't know if that's a way of clarifying what's the difference between folk and rock.
Well, I think you're right, Leah. We actually named this album Judas because of that moment when Bob Dylan went electric, and he was playing that gig for the first time, or one of the first times with his whole rock band, and that person in the audience, when it was very quiet, yelled out Judas.
The betrayal.
Yeah, and Dylan says, "I don't believe you," and he turned and said, "Play loud," or whatever. And so our friend Alex, when he heard some of our new stuff, was going, "Oh my God, Union's gone electric, Judas." And so we just thought it'd be funny just to name the album Judas.
The SoundLab ebook, Why Learn Music? A comprehensive guide to the benefits of learning music is out now. We've put decades of music learning concepts in this ebook especially for you. This is a must-read for anyone looking to grow to their full music learning potential. Visit our website to get your free ebook today.
I came and saw you guys at Big Sound. I remember seeing you on stage. It was very set up, almost like a Western style, guitars high, and you were spaced out, and it was amazing to watch. Obviously, you guys always dress immaculately. Yeah, I just want to talk to you a bit about your style.
Well, tonight I've got on my, I'm not sure I'm wearing Zara, and I got this hippie shirt on.
And a crystal dangling there, I can see.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going business casual, hippie chic.
Are you wearing tracksuit pants as well?
No.
No?
They're plaid formal dress slacks.
Oh.
And they put that Adidas stripe on the side of it.
Show us your socks. You're always wearing wonderful socks, I noticed.
Oh, yeah. I just got some stripy numbers on.
Of course. Go the stripes.
But, yeah, I mean, seriously, if you're in a rock band, you got to look like it. When you're walking through the airport, if they can't tell who's in the band and who isn't, you're just not doing it right. And in Florida, if the rednecks aren't looking at you and getting horny, you're not doing it right.
That's great. But there's rockers that wear studs. You guys are wearing boleros and bloody flares. It's a bit different.
You either put on the platforms, go full leather with makeup like Kiss or something, the full hairspray, the whole deal, like a mega, a Sunset Strip 80s glam rocker. You go that whole route, or you wear on stage what you plan on going to sleep in and waking up in, and you just wear that every night of the tour. Just bring a bunch of underwear for out of respect for the people around you. It's just a shame. If you look at the big rock stars today, they all look like these dudes that you know, if you brought him, if a woman brought him home, you know, for dinner and said, "This is my new boyfriend," mom and dad would be so happy. They're like, "What a nice man. You really got a nice guy there, Vicky."
Vicky!
What a nice man. He's a fine young man. You know, these are the rock stars, right? And the music sounds like it's been churned out of an ice cream maker or something. It's just garbage. There's nothing even remotely thought-provoking. I'm like, what a nice guy. You know? Like, you know, swap him with you know, goddamn Tony Iommi, 1972. Imagine, you know, well, basically it'd be like bringing Bob home. Look at him.
Yeah, you want some questions asked. You don't want to leave there with no questions. You want those people thinking.
I mean, imagine bringing Bob home to mom and dad. Look at him.
Oh, he's a nice Greek boy. What are you talking about? I wanted to talk to you, please, about the documentary Dig.
That's how we met.
I had just got a laptop computer because I'd never had an email or a cell phone. And I still didn't get a cell phone until like 11 years ago. On the road in Australia, I met my now wife and gave her my email and gave her best friend my email. Then her friend, you know, Christy Ryan, you know, this is like probably like the 9th email I ever got. And she said, would you and Courtney want to come to Australia to the Res Fest, the digital film festival, to talk about Dig?
Tell me right now you've never ever heard the Dandy Warhols before.
I sneeze and hits come out.
We're actually going to kick off a full musical revolution.
Jonestown and the Dandies have a window of opportunity.
We're going to take over the world. We're going to show you how to do it, too.
So I emailed her back and said that, you know, Courtney doesn't want to do it. You know, Courtney definitely completely hated the movie, obviously. It doesn't paint a nice picture of him, you know. She wrote back very quickly and said, yeah, if you and Matt Hollywood could do it, that'd be great. You know, and I'm thinking, my God, you know, we got a free flight and accommodation to Australia. You know, when she followed the Dandies around for 7 years, everyone kind of felt like she was making a documentary about us and the Brian Jonestown massacre and about how it was going to be this kind of heartwarming story of two bands who, on paper, it doesn't seem like, you know, these are two bands who are not Bon Jovi or Kid Rock. They are not Limp Bizkit. They are not very commercially viable bands. You know, it's just, we thought it was going to be this, like, hopefully by the end of the 7 years, the two of us are doing well, and it shows the hard yards and how hard work and just having good songs and good records, you can have some success. You know, she'd fly out to see us on these various television shows around the world, or if we had a really big festival slot, she'd fly out, film us backstage, shoot some shots from the side of the stage. That's what we kind of thought it was going to be, like a respectable documentary like you might see about Tom Petty or Neil Young. Or, you know, if you tune in to watch a documentary on the history of the Rolling Stones, you don't expect to watch an hour and 45 minutes of them just screaming at each other, you know. But if you film the Stones for 7 years, you could certainly edit down. You know, she had 2,000 hours of footage of us. You could have made any kind of movie you wanted out of that 2,000 hours of footage. You could film my mom for 2,000 hours and make her out to look like a psychopath at the end of that 2,000 hours if you wanted to, when she's not. She's a beautiful, sweet third-grade teacher. And through that whole period and up till now and all the way, the whole time, Jonestown and the Dandies have been great friends, but she made this amazing movie. Don't get me wrong, it is an incredible film. Yeah, it's the first, I think that it might have influenced all those, like, Real Housewives. Like, look, let's just film these ladies talking, and as soon as they get drunk and crazy enough and angry enough, we'll just edit that down to the 30-minute episode, but we're just going to have to keep filming them for 7 or 8 hours till we get enough angry footage to, it's brilliant. I think she went to like Yale Film School or Stanford or something, and she graduated. She is a very, very, very good filmmaker, and she knows she's got to have the villain. She's got to have the hero. And, you know, she could have done it the other way. She could have had the dandies when the dandies she could have really painted a picture of the dandies falling off a little bit after Monkey House or something. And then just cut to footage of Jonestown playing the Reading Festival.
Maybe that wouldn't have sold as well. That's the thing, isn't it, you know?
Well, guess what? Jonestown played the same festival the same frickin' day on the same stage. It's very disingenuous. But don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant movie, and I think it's one of my favorite movies ever. But I just don't think it's very truthful. Playing music it's not easy, you know, and it's very mentally taxing, and you're gonna get the blisters on your fingers like Ringo got. I made lots of terrible, terrible records as a teenager and into my 20s. And I don't think I really made a truly great record until I was drumming on 13 Tales from Urban Bohemia. It's the first truly great album that I believed in at that time, that I knew right then and there that this is really great. Before that, you're nervous and you're second guessing yourself. You wonder if you should just stop because you know you've done the very best that you can do, but the whole thing is just so much fun, and it's so, music has such a positive, visceral, your body just reacts in such a positive and beautiful way that you have to push right through that, and you just have to keep on rocking, just keep adjusting, keep working. And for me, it was never like an amount of albums to sell. It wasn't a certain amount of money that I'm going to make. Everything I ever dreamed of was experiences, these concerts, to give my parents the experience of seeing me on a television set. These were the things. I never thought about anything else, just experiences. And, you know, I certainly dwelled on it quite a bit, and have pretty much, I feel like I've pretty much achieved all of those things, I think, through Manifest Destiny, you know.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on the SoundLab at Home. I really appreciate your time and talking to me. Hope to catch up with you both real soon. Until then, all the best and take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Thanks, Leah.